Hello, in this video I'm going to be looking at the Orico SATA hard drive hot swap rack, which is a bit of a mouthful. This is a 5¼ inch module that you mount into your PC case, and it lets you hot swap 3½ inch SATA hard drives like this one here. It doesn't have a tray, it's just a bare rack, and you just slide the drive in the front. There's some specs on the back of the box here, if anyone cares. I don't know why they bother listing supported system, because there's no electronics in here as such, it's all passive, so it's a bit irrelevant really. But you can pick these up on eBay for about £14 delivered in the UK, which is not bad really. Get a bit of useless information nobody cares about. Small pack of screws. These are your sort of your floppy disk drive style machine screws. And then the actual unit itself. It's not enclosed. And to insert a drive, you just basically pull on this lever, and then that opens this flap here, and then you can slide your drive into the front, and then and you just push the door and it clicks shut. It's quite good because it locks in, and it's quite firm, so it's not going to just slide out. Some of them you just push in and they just seem to sit in there. And this looks quite sturdily built. There's quite a bit of metal to it, as you can see. To get the disc out, you just pull that lever, and then pulling the door forward is what forces the drive out. It operates this lever at the back, and then you can just pull it free. Oops. You can see there the mechanism for that, and all that's metal, and all of this down here is also metal, so I think this is probably going to last. It's fairly well built. Bit of plasticky build to it there, but I don't think there's too much force on that. And then down here you can see that's where your SATA connector is, where the drive engages, and that passes through to the back here. So you've got your standard SATA power and SATA data cables, or if you've got one of those combined cables where the data and the power are in one plug, and then that will fit that as well, because again it's a standard layout. On the front here there's a power switch which you can use to power on and off the drive, which is handy because it means you can push the drive in with it powered down, and then when you're ready, when it's all shut up properly, then power it up. And then there's an indicator light here. I'm assuming that that's going to be both a power and an activity, as it's got a picture of a disc next to it. And yeah, there's 3 cables to that, so looks like that will be both. There's a small ribble cable down here. What I'm interested to look at with this is if there's any capacitors inside here or any other circuitry. One of the problems you can have with hot swapping particularly mechanical drives on a system that's on is it can then cause a brief power outage to other hard drives in the system, again particularly mechanical drives, and then they can drop out and you can end up with data loss, or if it's a system drive, the whole system can lock up. So really you need something where there's a bit of a capacitor bank or something in here that gives it a bit of reserve power, so for that initial startup of the hard drive it doesn't affect other components in the system. So when the drive in the hot swap bay is in use, as you can see here, you get like a pinky flashing colour. I think there's a red LED in there probably, and a blue LED. When the drive's just on and there's no access, you'll just get a blue LED to indicate the power's on. And if I press the power button, you get no LED, so that gives you an idea of what's going on. So overall I'm quite impressed with the Orico SATA Hotswap Rack. For the money it's a very good deal. It's very well made, certainly for £14 delivered. Nice to see proper metal joints in places where they're needed and reinforcement where it's needed. I've noticed that even, if it's possible to see, even down here where the door's hinged, that's actually got a metal pin through a fairly thick piece of plastic. So obviously there's going to be quite a bit of force on that. I have noticed that some of the drives I've tried in it do stick a bit, and you have to put quite a lot of pressure on the door. So obviously there's going to be different tolerances in drives, or different manufacturers of drives, different models, and you can see, if you look on here, it does scratch the sides up a bit because it's obviously rubbing against the metal slides, which is no different to when it's running in a case in a PC. I just want to be aware of that. Obviously you need to make sure that that doesn't get ripped open on drives like this, because that's where there's a seal to the inside of the disc, so you don't want to damage that. But yeah, this is one of those drives that does tend to stick a bit, but you can see the casting for the drive base itself, it does stick out a little bit. There's a bit of a join or something there that sticks out. So this one's a bit harder to eject, but I'd say that's more an issue with the differences in the drives rather than the caddy itself or the rack. It's nice that you've got the indicators on the front for the power and the disc activity. This is a dual colour LED, and also having the power button. It is nice, but obviously you need to bear in mind the issues that I brought up earlier with regards causing other drives to drop out by powering this up while the system's powered up. If you put this on a different cable off of your power supply to what your other drive's on, that will possibly alleviate it. You may have to do some testing yourself to figure that one out, but just worth being aware of. If you're not intending to swap drives while the machine's powered up, then obviously you're not going to have that problem. So yeah, overall I'd say it's a good buy for the money.